Red sweet and sour cabbage is one of the most popular dishes in many parts of Europe, especially Sweden, Germany, and Austria. But for centuries, cabbage has also been the life-sustaining staple food among poor Russians, who treat it as a meal and not just a side dish. To make it more filling, Russians make it with a lot of butter and smetana, which is like high-fat sour cream. What I've done here is to create a fusion version that incorporates aspects of the Swedish, Russian, and Austrian versions, and then kick up the intensity with some French restaurant technique.
Begin by assembling the ingredients. I have about 60 grams of butter. I'm going to begin cooking this on its own because we want to use browned butter for this. It's one of those secret methods, so not really a secret to home cooks, but well known to restaurant chefs. Browned butter is a very, very good flavor, but you won't get it. If you add all the ingredients first, there'll be too much water, the butter will never brown, you'll never get that, you'll just get this oily mess. So this is going to start out cooking the butter just by itself. And then the garlic, got 50 grams of red onion. Don't always put red onion in the sweet and sour cabbage, but this adds another dimension, give it a little bit more depth of flavor. It's the whole thing's about. Also, usually, maybe you add a little bit of caraway seed, but usually it's not heavily seasoned. This is going to be seasoned. I've got 2 tablespoons of my Austrian seasoning mix here. Now, this is actually the full-blown one. The one that I gave you the recipe for in the previous video that reappears here is an abbreviated version. This is more difficult to make. I'll explain this in volume 3 of my cookbook series. You have to roast some apples and you do some other things that aren't explained here because it's going to take too long. But the regular basic Austrian seasoning will still work just fine. It'll be very nice. This is even better though. Red wine vinegar, lemon juice for the end, of course the red cabbage, and a lot of sugar. This is brown sugar. The first step is a pan with medium heat here. Don't make it too hot. We're not looking to burn the butter. Remember, we want to brown it slowly, and that only happens if you cook it slowly and be patient. So we're going to let it go for a little while on a medium heat. Here we have about 3 or 4 minutes after the butter melted. You can see it's still yellow, but it's on the verge of starting to darken just a little bit. Now, you can see it darkening. This is as far as you want to take it. You want to take it that far, but no further. Like the driver going to the haunted house, you know. We will only go so far. That's as far as you want to go. If you don't want to turn it into burnt butter. Okay, now also when I add the garlic, I'm turning the heat way down. Turning it way down to 2. We want to cook this garlic quickly. We've still got to slow down the cooking of the butter. Okay, just a few seconds later now, I'm going to add all the sugar to it. Now this will not only slow down the cooking even more, but it'll make sure that the sugar all melts and gets a little bit caramelized itself. Now it's been 2 or 3 minutes. Sugar's dissolved. You can see nice color on this garlic here. Now I've turned the heat back up to medium. I turned it way down from 5 to 2. Now it goes back up to medium, and we start adding the cabbage in. You don't really need to shred it finely because it's going to be cooked a long time. It's going to get tender anyway. But obviously you don't want any giant pieces in there. Now as this begins cooking, it's going to immediately start liberating some moisture. It'll control the temperature of the pan. And they'll let it fry like this in the butter. Let the cabbage actually fry in the butter for a couple minutes before we continue. Again, this is part of the flavoring. And if you see little pieces like this, chunks like this, this is from the stem of the cabbage. You can pull that out, because it'll be tough later on. I thought that I got them all out when I cut the cabbage up, but obviously I missed one. So it's been about another 2-3 minutes here. You can see a lot of liquid has already came out of the cabbage here. A lot of sugary liquid here in the bottom. Now I'm going to add in that red onion. that I chopped up, medium fine, sliced it, and then ran the knife across the other way. The little slices. And we're going to cook it like this for actually, at this point, I'm going to add the seasoning to. This will help draw out more moisture, and there's no reason not to add it now. It's got plenty of liquid in there. You don't want to burn that spice by adding it too soon. Don't add it with the garlic. The spice will burn. But it's plenty of liquid here. It's only on a medium heat. It's mostly water. The temperature right now is just above the boiling point of water. So. Okay, it's been about 2 more minutes. A lot of liquid has come out now because of the seasoning mix has salt in it, and that's going to draw moisture out as well. And if you taste it right now, it's almost candy sweet. That's okay. This is going to change as it cooks, and then also, of course, it's going to be mixed with vinegar, which I'm adding right now, and then later lemon juice as well. So, you give this a stir, put a lid on it, and we'll begin reduction. Slow simmering of this. I'm turning the heat down from 5 down to about 2. Keep this going at a slow rate for about an hour and a half. And you take the lid off and give it a stir every once in a while. Here's what it looks like after about 40 minutes, coming up on 40 minutes now. A lot of liquid in there still, getting soft. Heat's on 2 actually, just over 2 on 1 to 10. Keep it at a simmer, let it go full hour and a half. Now, finally, after about an hour and a half, it's just been just a little bit less than an hour and a half. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to turn the heat up now. It's been on like 2.5. I'm turning it up to 5. I'm going to continue cooking it now with no lid on it, and stir it fairly frequently here. You want to. This is a chance to get rid of the excessive acid from the vinegar, and a little bit more caramelizing of the cabbage. It's the stage that it needs to be really professional. Cook it well at this point. And after a few minutes, as it starts to get to dryness, you need to taste it and adjust the seasonings. I just tasted it. I know it needs a little bit more salt here. And also, now you've evaporated it like this, it's actually too sweet. So you're going to adjust it back towards sourness with some lemon juice as the very final step, the very last step. This looks pretty good. So I'm going to kill the heat and adjust it with lemon juice right now.
The second volume of my cookbook is now available through Amazon and other booksellers. It covers the YouTube recipes from the last 8 months with more in-depth information. I received requests for the procedures on all recipes, and I've listened to you. Every recipe has step-by-step directions, and of course there are recipes that aren't on YouTube. But this is not just a recipe book. Far from it, as you can see from some of the topics scrolling by here. I'm certain that anyone who watches my channel and any serious cook will find this book a treasury of useful and new information you won't find anywhere else. If you want to know more about my adventures as a chef around the world and have some great laughs along the way, be sure to check out the video tour of my book, 40 Years in One Night. It's up on YouTube right now. Click the link. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.